Bonita Adams, 36, vanished on September 13, 2023 from a Raceway gas station in Memphis, Tennessee. 2 weeks passed with no trace of her return, and her family reported her missing to the police. The Memphis police wasted no time in their search, reviewing CCTV footage and other reports, but found nothing. That is until they noticed some similarities between a dead body they had discovered near the train tracks 2 weeks prior. Upon receiving Bonita's DNA for forensic examination, it became apparent that this mystery had taken a sorrowful turn. So it was on Monday, the 2nd of October, that Bonita Adams's remains were proven to belong to her. Now, as this case is fresh, the investigation is ongoing, leaving many wondering if it could be linked to the recent death of Tamiya Taylor, another young African-American woman found deceased in suspicious circumstances in Memphis. Bonita Adams was born in 1987 in a small town in Mississippi, though we know not much about her upbringing. But all who knew her remembered her bubbly personality and the incredible person she was. She often traveled for her work, yet it remains unclear whether she was in a relationship or had any children. Bonita was a kind soul who lived a tranquil life. Her friends could always attest to her kindness and unselfishness. However, on Wednesday, September 13th, something tragic happened, and she vanished without warning. CCTV footage revealed that she left the Raceway gas station around 5 p.m., headed for her Mississippi home, but Bonita never made it back. The following day, an eyewitness found her lifeless body by a running railway line with their pet pup next to her. They contacted the Memphis police, who arrived and ordered all trains in the vicinity to be diverted so they could investigate. There were no indications of foul play, but it was hard to discern as her remains had been mutilated from getting struck by the train. There was little doubt that this was what caused her death, yet the rationale behind how her body ended up in that place remained unknown. The body was discovered, but determining its owner proved impossible. The detectives were in the dark as they investigated, like blind men without a clue. So they resorted to performing an autopsy on the remains, hoping for vital information to determine the cause of death: murder or a lost soul wandering abandoned streets. However, days passed with no answers. Then, a missing person case caught their attention. Coincidences emerged between that file and their Jane Doe. As they kept digging, the missing pieces of the puzzle started fitting together. An ominous call on the 26th of September disrupted the peace. Worry was clear in the family's voice as they declared Bonita Adams had gone missing, with her last communication being 2 weeks prior on the 13th of September. Panic and unease only heightened at this point, but it would intensify when the police informed them of their gruesome discovery: a corpse that corresponded to Bonita's features. Scarred beyond recognition, they had no effective way to confirm if it was her without a DNA test, a process that necessitated waiting 6 days for results. After an agonizing wait that seemed to drag on, they met the Adams family with confirmation of their worst nightmare on October 2nd. The body discovered was that of Bonita Adams. A sad reality, but the discovery of her bloodied body only inflamed the palpable rage and despair exhibited by her family. To uncover any useful evidence, the Memphis police dispatched investigators to the scene. After a lengthy and strenuous search in the sweltering heat, they could not find anyone else who had been with Bonita on the fateful night, leading them to conclude her death was a suicide. Yet, hope remained. The police urged her to remain open until they could confirm the absence of any other suspects. With that being said, let's dive into the different theories surrounding Bonita's death. To start us off on this journey of speculation, I think it would be best to focus on the most plausible option: murder. The police have searched in vain for any evidence of what happened that night. But I know something sinister occurred on the road leading to Bonita's home. She was too kind, too generous. It didn't make sense that she would choose to take her own life in this way. Who could have had a motive to do such a thing? At first glance, Bonita had no enemies, no ill-wishers. The investigators examined whether she had any ex-boyfriends who may have been angry enough to seek revenge, but they found nothing. Could someone else have been involved? Was Bonita followed from the gas station by somebody out to commit a heinous act? Could one of the employees working there had seen her and followed her home? Questions linger, But one thing is certain. We must bring whoever was behind this unthinkable crime to justice. The twisting tale of Bonita's death has the significance of a tragedy that may never be resolved. Evidence points to a potential self-inflicted fate, with Bonita wandering off into the unknown after a stressful day. But something doesn't sit right. Why would someone, struggling, make such an abhorrent choice that could maim hundreds of lives on the ill-fated train? With no clues hinting to any suspects, I'm forced to consider alternatives. Was this murder orchestrated? Did they take advantage of this twisted method to disguise their wicked activity and masquerade as if no maliciousness was at hand? If so, who was it and what was their purpose? One thing is certain. The answer to this perplexing puzzle lies concealed in the shadows, awaiting revelation. The story of Tamiya Taylor and Bonita Adams is a familiar one. Two young African-American women, born in Mississippi, now living in Memphis, Tennessee, and both disappearing within days of each other. They discovered Tamiya Taylor dead on the 13th of September, less than 10 miles away from where Bonita Adams was last seen. Could this be the handiwork of a serial killer? As the Memphis Police Department continues their investigation into the case of Bonita Adams, with zero leads or suspects to point to her vanishing, I'm determined to uncover more about these two peculiar deaths and if they are related somehow. Will they find a hint that will bring an end to this frightening enigma and provide closure for the families of those involved? Or will this remain another cold case that will plague Memphis for years? Only time can tell. Love us? Leave us a positive review or rating. Follow No Tears for Black Girls on social media and No Tears for BG on Twitter. Be blessed, be loved, stay safe.